Kanukit pisilan at kalu inuyaluid na nilikha ilat kalu. Hello everyone, how are you? Wang atira Agnes atitak. My name is Agnes Gruben White. My Eskimo name is Aditak. Last name is Charlie Gruben. His Eskimo name is Ukuk. And my mom's name is Persis Laney, her maiden name. They got married 1937, March 27. And I have 10 siblings, brother and sisters, that I grew up with. I'm the oldest out of 11. And Sarah, Eileen, Freddie, Buddy, Lena, Chucky. My dad, before he ever got married, he always said, if I ever have a daughter, I'm going to call her Agnes. And that's the only name I have, Agnes, except for my Eskimo name. They call it Inuvialutun Aditak. Just Agnes, unless Dadak. My dad calls me Bunnik or Babe. That's the only thing I know. I was born 100 miles northeast of Tuktoyakto. It's called Nallok. It was a little log cabin. First it was a tent, and next day they moved as the weather was getting cold in a little log house. 1937, 09/11. My dad was born 1913, Kendall Island, in a whaling season, harvesting time. And my mother was born up in the Indian Territory called Peel River, 1918, October the 20th. Her natural born dad was drowned in Peel River, the old town. On my grandmother's second marriage, she married my grandfather, Linig Langasaluk, so she doesn't know her real natural dad. We did everything together as we had to survive. With a 45-foot schooner, we'd go across to the high Arctic called Biggs Island to do trapping. That's the main harvesting. We go up there for white foxes. That's how we make our living, trap white foxes. And it's a 45-foot schooner. It takes 2 days, depends on the weather. If it's a nice day, and it had slow motors. It's about 18 hours straight across from the mainland to where our destination is. We didn't have time. We were trying to survive so hard. We had to learn our culture. Right from the time you were little, you start learning your culture. Whatever the harvesting seasons are, there's 4 seasons, so we had to learn all the different seasons for harvesting, what kind of animal to harvest. We were just like farmers, but we were with the wild animals. I grew up with Agnes Carpenter. She's deceased. And Margaret, just on and off, Margaret Pocat. But Agnes and I were quite close. And on the mainland, we stay up in the island for a whole year. July, we finally come back, July or August. Then another close friend was Susie Nuxon. She's deceased, but we're best of friends. There was quite a few of them that we made friends with in school, boarding school. It was a Roman Catholic church, that boarding school in Aklavik. 1945 I went to school there. We just learned how to read and write and your fractions, adding. It was so limited. Grandpa? Well, on my first marriage, we were stationed in Herschel Island. One of the oldest whaling posts That was in late 1800s. When the whalers used to come in, they come in there to hunt bowheads. At the meantime, it was quite popular for a woman's corset, that baleen of the big bowheads. That's what they use. Shortly after that, it just kind of went out of business. But that's where I met your grandpa. He was across the bay, about 18 miles across. He was the station chief. He was a radar tech. He was American.
How did he propose to you?
Oh, he didn't really propose. He just asked me if I would go with him. If he sent me a ticket from Edmonton to Inuvik, and I thought to myself, yeah, I guess I could. But I thought, oh, dime a dozen. I thought he won't even bother. Here I went to Inuvik. Here I had a ticket for Edmonton. I stayed a year in Burlington, Kansas, and we came out here in Seattle. I met him out here in 1963. And we bought a house on 35th, 11251 35th Avenue Southwest. From there, December, we got married, 1963. It was a little church, Chime Bells Church, right over here on First Avenue. It's called Berean, Washington. And I went to see it, 3 years ago? 3 years ago? It wasn't even there anymore. Just the address is there, but there was just 2 apartments built in there. When you say thank you, Inuviа looked in my language, you say Kuyanaini, means thank you. Here, it was 1963. We lived in Normandy Park, and Marlene and Evelyn were going to school there, and we rented a place, and Papa decided we better get our own place. Did we have to look for a place? So we ended up over in West Seattle, bought a house there. Kids used to go swimming. The girls used to go swimming out. We belonged to a membership, and they did their track running and everyday life. Papa was never home though. He was always up in the Arctic, called early distress warning, the war zone in case of Russia attack, and he was up there a year. Later on, they cut it down to 6 months. Then we moved out of here back in late 70s. You were born here in 1975. So after that, shortly, we kind of moved. The girls grew up here. A bit of it, and what we could. There's just 3 of us. Like I said, Papa was never home. He's always working up in the north. And kind of scattered. As 75 came along, you were born then here. Doctor's Hospital, which is downtown.
What kind of work did you do here, Grandma? In Seattle?
I worked for Eddie Bowers as seamstress.
How long? When did you work there? For how long?
From 63 right to 68, 69. So I worked there for a while. It was all piecework. It wasn't very much. 50 cents an hour wasn't too much. But by noon, I'd have my piecework, $32.50. And then after the lunch, I'd have my own payment, $32.50 on my own time. So that's how the wages were at that time. You couldn't get rich on it, but we made a living, cheap living then.
What kind of foods did you eat?
Everyday food there. I used to send Marlene or Evelyn, give them $1, the bread, hamburger. God would buy. Food was so cheap. A little grocery store, a couple of houses down from our place. It closed down eventually. People started coming in, and it was forced to close it. There was no more business. But it's everyday food. Papa used to leave us where we don't have to go buy food. We bought a big freezer of all cuts of beef and some fish, so I didn't have to go looking for meat for the girls and I and fish. So we had it in the freezer. We had everything in the freezer. Didn't have to go. I just go to work and then girls go to school, and that was every day of our life as long as we were here. It's like making a living for like everybody else.
And how did you get around Seattle? Did you drive or did you take the bus?
Uh, when I have to go downtown, I feel like taking a bus, I take the bus. But most of the time I had to drive back and forth to work. Close to Rainier, there was where the Eddie Bowers was. So I had to drive across there, but I wasn't too keen on driving when the weather was snowing and sleek. It was too slippery.
Where did you live in Seattle? Where, what places?
When we first came out here, we lived on 152nd, called Juno Apartments. We stayed there about 6-8 months, and then we found a place to rent in Normandy Park with John Wick's daylight basement. We stayed there for about 6 months, and after Christmas, that's when we bought the house in West Seattle.
Where is that?
It's on 1125 135th Avenue Southwest. From there, the girls used to take the buses down to high school. Marlene and Evelyn used to walk up to 106 to the school there. And that was that. They had their going to school and come home.
At that time, did you go to church?
I was looking for a church, religion for the two girls. I was looking for a Church of England, Anglican church they call. I couldn't find it. Little I know that they didn't have a Church of England in USA. The closest one I found was a Lutheran church, so that's where I used to take my two girls for their Sunday school, and every Sunday if we can go. It's quite a ways down on 106 area in that area, so that's how we became to church, being in church now and then. I made sure the girls had what was good and bad. I do a lot of reading at home with them, with the Bible. What else can we do but everyday life? So much to do. If we didn't go swimming on weekends, they ended up being in the swim lead, both of them. So every weekend we were busy going to sell places with the team, go swimming Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So they didn't have too much time on their hand, kept busy. Till we moved to Alaska, and your mother stayed, or Marlene stayed down here. She went to South College. Evelyn just sort of roamed around at home here. We had a house here in West Seattle, so that was her home.
What kind of work did Papa do?
Papa he was a radar tech. He came out of the Navy. He was on a crypto. And he went to DuLine, and they sent him down to Chicago for more training for crypto techs, and down to Texas. He was down here in Texas. And when John Kennedy got shot, we were watching him on TV, and he pointed to TV. This is the apartment where we stayed, I said, when we were going to school down there. It wasn't too far from where Kennedy was shot, so that's where he was. That was the last time he decided to move to Alaska. So
Why did he move to Alaska? Why did he want to move there?
I guess he liked the area, and then I couldn't stay down here. I was doctor's orders to go where it's dry. I couldn't take cool-at-home shots all the time, so it was good for me and the girls to move to Alaska. And that's where Papa liked it. He resided.
Where in Alaska did he like?
Well, the most place he liked was Galena, where you grew up. Otherwise, we were just always from mountain to mountain to mountain. A couple of times in Fairbanks. The rest of the time was settlements. So the longest we stayed was in Galena from the 80s, early 70s to early 90s. So that's where we stayed and then transferred to Fairbanks. From Fairbanks, another couple of years till you graduate. And then from there, we went to Anchorage, and that's where they retired him.
Where was your favorite place to live in Alaska?
Pardon?
Where was your favorite place to live in Alaska?
Uh, I guess Unalakleet I would have liked on the coastline.
When did you live there?
We stayed, we didn't live there, but we were traveling, changing radar text to satellite. So Papa was traveling all over, and I went with him places, and I liked Unalakleet because it was you can go fishing out on the beach and just like home. Just like right here, you go fishing anytime you wanted to. You didn't have to have a permit. You just light a bonfire, go fishing and roast fish. It was the best time of our lives. They changed from tech to radar, so satellite. They're putting up these satellite stations. We went to Nome, and Kotzebue was another nice place. It was right on the point. It was straight to the Arctic and then Pacific. So it was just a back and forth where the ships come in and for the freight for the year. So that was all the years that we did, and counting back, I counted 31 years in Alaska. Till you graduate, then we moved to Anchorage, and they retired Papa, and he went back to his hometown. We went there, but he wasn't the same. He was sickly. We just scattered from there, and we just kind of went back to Canada, back and forth. Was the last time on the 5th, 2005. I went back down there, but shortly after that, he passed on, and so I had Lynn, let her graduate from the high school there, and I've been there since 2009 in Leduc, Alberta, Canada.
What was your favorite part in Galena?
Favorite part? I guess it would be winter. Since there's no mosquitoes in the winter time, in the fall time and winter time, where you can go out with snow machines. Maybe find ptarmigans, go hunting. The sense of, there's something like ptarmigans. Change of diet, and a lot of moose, salmon. It was their harvesting time was August and October for fish and meat. Moose, it was kind of a little different because it's in a bad time of the season. They had to hunt moose just when the rutting season started.
Was there anything? What was the scariest time in Galena?
Curious time?
Scariest.
Oh, in springtime when the ice break up, because it can flood, and the bank is quite a ways out the river, and it just can reach to our house, which were quite a ways in the sluice area, and the roads in, but still the water got so high it wasn't washing up the ice.
What was the scariest moment for you in Galena? The scariest time?
It wasn't really ever scariest time. I guess when Dad and I were flying sometimes, it was so bad weather. I had to go with him wherever he was working most times, and there's few times we scary flights, snow, sleek, and we hit that amongst the mountains, so we don't know if we're gonna make it out of there. But we managed to. It was just life up there that we had to adjust to. I enjoyed life with him up in Alaska. It was my best moments, I guess. You growing up there, you were only, what, 3 years old, maybe younger when you came up. You were so little and we ended up in Galena, and that's where you started school as 3 years old. From there on, you went to Fairbanks and graduated in Fairbanks at the age of 16, and you came down here to Tacoma. And, yeah, everything just seems to go their way. Papa's gone. I moved out. Auntie moved with me. Lynn left. She's gone. Life goes on. My oldest one, Marlene's gone. So here I am with you.